Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone who is joining in to the second part of our Brazil-focused webinar. My name is Bharadwaj Kumamuru. I'm the Executive Director for the World Bioenergy Association, and I will be your moderator for the event today. So I'm glad that there's a lot of people who are joining in to this webinar that's titled the South-South Cooperation to Scale Up Transport Biofuels. As most of you may know, who are in the field of bioenergy and biofuels, we see biofuels have significant promise in the transportation sector. I think end of last year or the year before, close to 180, 190 billion liters of biofuels were produced, 65 to 70% from ethanol, and the rest from biodiesel and renewable diesel. And we see increased momentum for scaling up biofuel production, not just in countries that are bioenergy powerhouses such as Brazil and US, but in other parts of the world as well. And as most of you know, next month is the COP30, the Climate Change Conference in Belém. And for that reason, we have been organizing these Brazilian focused webinars. And we've already done the first webinar, I think, end of the last month. The recording's available. This is a second webinar, and we'll have another webinar that will focus on emerging markets such as SAF, maritime, and biomethane in November. But this webinar will focus on South-South cooperation to scaling up transport biofuels. And for those who are not aware about the association, I just have one slide that I'm going to share, which shows uh, yes. I hope everyone can see the slides. Very briefly about just a second. Yes, very briefly about the association. We are the World Bioenergy Association. We are a not-for-profit association, trade association with a mission to promote the sustainable development of bioenergy technologies around the world. When I say bioenergy, we try to cover all sectors of bioenergy, solid, liquid, and gaseous fuels. And as a member association, we've got members from, as you can see, a whole variety of stakeholders, which are predominantly associations that are national and regional associations that are working in bioenergy, but also a lot of companies who are in the entire biomass to energy value chain. These include utilities, biofuel producers, heating companies, equipment manufacturers, cookstove producers, and so on. In terms of our activities, we do webinars like the one that you're joining right now. We organize roundtables. That was, for example, the one that we did in India last year. And we also publish a lot of reports and market information on bioenergy development. And with that, I'll just stop in terms of the presentation about the association, but I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank our co-organizers. That's SBE Bioenergy Society, that's based in Brazil, and Bioenergy International, which is our official English publication, which covers a whole range of sectors. And thanks for the partners for helping us put together this program. And with that, I'll stop and I'll give the floor first to Mr. Katra from APROBI, the Indonesian Biodiesel Producers Association. I think it's biodiesel or biofuel, is it?
Biofuel.
Biofuel, okay.
Right.
Yeah, so no, it's sometimes Indonesia is synonymous with biodiesel, but I see there's a lot of interesting developments in bioethanol as well. But with that, we look forward to hearing what's happening in Indonesia in terms of biofuel development, but also maybe you could share some information on what sort of cooperation that you see would be critical for the sector to grow going ahead. So, Mr. Katra, you can share your screen if I hope it works out. We see your slides if you go to presenter mode.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Now it
Yep.
works. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. This is my second time on the WBA seminar. It's great to be back. Thank you so much for inviting me. Hopefully, this year I can bring more information to the seminar. Today, I'm going to talk about the Indonesian biodiesel program for energy transition, addressing challenges and overcoming obstacles. First of all, my name is Chatra. I am the Vice Chairman for the Indonesian Biofuel Producers Association. We are the only biofuel producer association in Indonesia on which our member produces biodiesel, bioethanol, and soon biojet fuel. Today, my main topic would be in the biodiesel industry development, sustainability, challenges, and overcoming obstacle, and then conclusion. As you can see, the biodiesel production in Asia Pacific and the world has grown significantly over the years. In Asia Pacific alone, most of the capacity is from Indonesia because we kept increasing our blending mandate. In this slide, we can see the blending mandate for biodiesel around the world. Starting 2025, Indonesia has enacted B40, which, if I'm not mistaken, is still the largest blending mandate in the world. We are now looking into B50. It has a lot of issue that we need to solve, but the government and all the producers are working together to see if B50 is actually viable. Before I go any further, we would like to tell everyone here how we first implement the biofuel program. Back in 2005, 2006, we have a lot of palm oil in Indonesia. And then at that time, the price of diesel fuel is very high. We need to reduce our emission as well at that time. So the government, the regulators, the producers worked together and came up with a solution by doing the biofuel program. At first, it doesn't seem to work, but over the years, we tried to do some collaboration with all the parties, and then we eventually succeed with B15 on 2019. This is our installed capacity. Our installed capacity now in 2025 is around 19.15 million kiloliters per year. And we've had a couple of 4 more new biodiesel plant coming in 2026. So we are going to have an additional of 2.5 million kiloliters of active capacity next year. We target that our consumption this year will be around 16.4 million kiloliters. This slide shows the production and consumption of biodiesel in Indonesia. As we can see that starting in 2006, our production and our domestic distribution have increased, though export has decreased because the government wanted to focus on our domestic consumption. This year, for the B40 program, this is our projection. By the end of this year, we would have 24 producers actively producing biodiesel. The capacity is about 19.15 million kiloliters per year. We will absorb about 15.62 million kiloliters this year. The hope is to improve the palm oil farmers' income. We give jobs to about 1.9 million upstream palm oil farmers. We try to decrease 42 million tons of CO2 equivalent, or about 12% from enhanced NDC target. And our saving from oil import is about 147.5 trillion rupiah, or about $9.3 million. For our feedstock, we mainly use palm oil, which is CPO, and then turned into refined bleach deodorized palm oil. That is our base feedstock for the biodiesel. One of the long and challenging question is about food versus energy. Looking at our data in 2024, um, we still have a lot of palm oil left because the consumption of palm oil for food hasn't increased in quite a while because I think people are looking into digesting other form type of oil such as coconut oil, and people are in Indonesia are trying to consume less oily foods. That's why the consumption for food has not increased in by a lot in a couple of years. So that's why we still have a lot of CPO for biodiesel. For the environment, a lot of people are saying that biodiesel from palm oil is actually bad for the environment. Or that is what has been said mostly in the European nations. Today, I'm going to uh, tell all of you that it's not 100% correct because currently Indonesia has been trying to prove that we are moving towards more sustainable palm oil. In recent years, Indonesia has implemented on a moratorium on deforestation. That means that people cannot just open new lands for palm oil plantation. Um, Indonesia has it's currently has been trying to follow the ISCC, and now Indonesia has come up with a scheme called ISPO, which is Indonesia Sustainable Palm Oil, where the government works together with all of the palm oil companies and small farmers to make sure that all the palm oil is sustainable. In Indonesia alone, other than biodiesel, we have worked together in cooperation with the government, all the end users, all the retailers for fuels, and all of the universities to come up with the solution with our energy problem. The first solution uh, is biodiesel, which is now we're at B40. Um, it might not be as famous as the uh, Brazilian scheme, which is the ethanol. Indonesia has an bioethanol program called E5. Um, the application is still very small, only in big cities like Jakarta and Surabaya. The consumption has been quite low, but the government is trying to increase the popularity of using bioethanol in its gasoline. Indonesia have done research for biojet fuel or SAF. We've tried several flights using 2.4% blend of biojet fuel and jet fuel. We have, I think, around 10 to 15 flights who has is that has been very successful. But we are still waiting for the government to enact the biojet fuel scheme. Challenges and trade barriers. The first challenge for the biofuel program in Indonesia is feedstock, because our feedstock is CPO. CPO is quite volatile sometimes when uh, rainy season or there is storm coming. It's going to be very hard to farm all of those CPO. So getting all the CPOs would be quite very hard in certain scenarios. And quality, if the government increases the blending mandate, the government will try to increase the quality of our biodiesel or bioethanol. It's going to be quite hard because whenever we increase the quality, sometimes we need to increase our technology as well on how to make sure that the biodiesel or bioethanol that we send can have we can reduce the moisture or water content, or how to increase the octane or cetane level. Handling and storage is also an issue because unlike unlike normal fuels and oils, biofuel tend to absorb oxygen and water. It's without proper handling and storage, it could we could have an issue with the quality. Logistics and infrastructure readiness is also an issue because with the government increasing the blending mandate, all the retailers of the biofuel uh, need to have ready a lot of tanks, which is quite daunting. Especially Indonesia is a maritime country where we have a lot of separate islands. That's why logistic is could be very hard to manage. Price is also one of the biggest issue that we are facing right now. Currently, the price of palm oil has been going up, but the price of diesel fuel oil has gone down, and now it's quite stable. But now the price gap between biodiesel and normal diesel fuel is quite big. It's almost 55 cents per liter, which is going to be very hard to fund. And we are also right now testing for the B50 program. Starting this year, the government has started on lab testing if we want to do B50 program. Is it viable or not? And we are hoping that early next year, the government will do a large scale testing for B50, where we will try on several different industries using B50. If the test is good, if we can do B50, we'll see it from the test. The last one is facing trade barriers. Um, as you might know, we are having issue exporting to European Union countries and the United States because of countervailing duty and subsidy implementation. We've won our CVD and AD in Europe, but now I think the Europe has not accepted very well. We are still talking with the Indonesian government whether we want to continue our route with WTO. Success factor of biodiesel program in Indonesia is synergy. Uh, like the topic for this seminar is cooperation. Biodiesel in Indonesia can work right now up until B40 is because of cooperation, synergy, working together, and understanding each other. We, the producers, work together with the government, all the industry players, all the research institutes, universities, end users, and the BPDP, or the Fund Management Agency for palm oil. We work together on how to solve the Indonesia's problem of over reliance on import of energy. We want Indonesia to be able to sustainably have its own energy source. Over the years, it's been tough for us, but now we've succeeded with B40. In conclusion, the biodiesel program or biofuel program in Indonesia wouldn't be able to work without synergy and cooperation with all the stakeholders. Without it, we'd never even be able to achieve B5. That's why we're hoping that in the seminar, the message got through that I think the most important aspect of biofuel program is collaboration with all the stakeholders, not only in Indonesia, but also with other parts of the world. We could share technologies, we could share our experiences on how to implement a biofuel program. I think that's about it from me. Thank you very much. I'd be happy to answer any question if any of you have questions. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Chatra. I mean, that was an excellent presentation. Sorry for joining in so late from Indonesia. It's always a challenge when, as a global association, we try to find the right time which fits in everyone, and sometimes some people have to compromise. So thank you for that. First of all, impressive biofuel story, what's happening in Indonesia. We've been following it closely as well. And as one of the attendees pointed out, it sort of seems like a race between some of these countries, whether it's Indonesia, Brazil, and others, as to keep increasing the biofuel blending mandates and see who goes quicker and further ahead. There were a few questions, definitely, but before that, I just wanted to clarify to the people that have joined in. This is, of course, was supposed to be a very Brazilian-focused webinar, but also, most importantly, South-South cooperation. The first webinar that we had was exclusively focusing on Brazil, on policies, regulations, and so on. But this webinar, our main focus was to have presenters from around the world who are working on biofuels and see how we can expand cooperation between these countries, but also with Brazil in implementing and scaling up biofuels. We were supposed to have a speaker from one of the investment promotion agencies in Brazil. Unfortunately, she had to drop off at the last minute. But still, when I see the comments in the comment section, I see people joining in from Philippines, from Peru, Japan, Brazil, Kenya. So it's a worldwide interest in this particular topic. So thanks for joining in. That's a very short clarification. But first, moving on to some of the questions. There's a lot of questions that we've got, and probably I can start with the first. I think this is Connie from FAO. Thanks for the question. It's on the price gap between diesel and biodiesel. How does the government address that issue? Because at the end of the day, biofuels are still, more expensive compared to the replacement that is diesel. How does the government address this issue?
Right. So very good question. It's one of the biggest factor that maybe a lot of country are fighting with when implementing biofuel program because biofuel is more expensive than normal fuels. In Indonesia, what we've worked out is that um, since our feedstock is palm oil, whenever we export palm oil, all the exporters need to pay a levy. These levy are then collected, and then after it's collected, the money will then be used to support the biodiesel program. So we are not using the government's money, but we are using the palm oil money for the palm oil industry needs.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for the clarification. Another question on the technical performance, because when you start going on to very higher blends, and that's a question that we keep getting from many other countries and stakeholders, because Indonesia arguably has the highest blending mandate, as far as I know, in any biofuel. So one of the questions, how do you address, or what sort of issues that have come across when adopting B40 and you're starting looking at B50, and how are these sort of addressed? What's your experiences on that?
Um, as I said before, every time when the government wants to increase the blending mandate, the producers will come together, collaborate with all the technical specialists, universities, and the government on how we can improve our product specification. One issue is water content,
Mm.
because the water content factors in a lot of machineries. If the water content is too high, then it might create sludges in the machine. That's why we work together on how to develop a drying technique so the water content uh, will be lower than normal fuel oil. Um, we do have to pay up because the technology is quite new. But I think with the success of B40, I think it's quite worth the price. Another issue would be monoglyceride. In colder weather, um, the biofuel can turn into a sticky paste. But luckily, Indonesia is a tropical country. The weather is quite warm here. There's no winter, so no cold weather. So it should not be an issue, but it might be an issue if we bring it to colder countries in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been to Indonesia a few times and I can definitely vouch for the weather. Excellent weather that you have there. But a couple of quick questions. One about the land yield. I think it's related to oil palm. What's the current land yield that you have in Indonesia on average?
Currently, in 2024 and in 2025, we predict that the palm oil we can produce about 50 million tons of CPO. So biofuel right now, their domestic absorption for biodiesel is about 16.4. So we still have a lot of palm oil to go around.
Excellent. And finally, on cooperation, because that sort of is the theme of the session, and there's also a couple of questions on that. There's one specific question looking at cooperation between with UK and Nigeria, but I want to keep it a bit more broad. What sort of, as a really, working in this association, what sort of cooperations that that already exist in terms of exchanging information or knowledge with countries around the world, and what do you see? More cooperation needed, whether it's in terms of policy development or technology development or regulations or pricing. What do you see would be critical both for cooperation critical both for Indonesian biofuel development, but also for other parts of the world? What exists right now, and what do you see would be useful to have in the near future?
Interesting question. Um, our topic right now is mainly for Brazilian.
Mm,
We have met with the Brazilian embassy a couple of times now. I think we are going to have another meeting in the future about biofuels. We're talking about feedstock, about exchanging technology, exchanging our understanding of biofuel program on how can the Brazilian government who still have a successful biofuel program. I think this sort of collaboration between nations, maybe either through the government or from company to company, we can work together. And then, for example, if Brazilian needs palm oil, maybe
mm.
you can send them. And if we need feedstock for our biogasoline, we can exchange it with our CPO feedstock. So it would be very helpful if each country can work together with each other to see what do they need and if we can provide the needs or not. We can exchange feedstocks. We can exchange technology so that we can have a better biofuel program.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much, Mr. Chatra. And I think that fits in well with the theme as well. So thanks for focusing on Brazil. And I hope you stay on for a few more minutes until the end. So we will see if we get any more questions. We'll come back to you. But thanks for the presentation. And now we move from Indonesia to Uganda. And I'm very pleased to have Mr. Praveen, who is leading Volcano Agro, one of the leading, if not the leading producer of ethanol in Uganda. It was a privilege to visit. In fact, the World Bioenergy Association, we had a General Assembly in Kampala in July. So we visited and we went around. We see very interesting developments in bioenergy. And Mr. Praveen, who represents his Bukana Agro, will talk a bit more on the story of ethanol, I believe from cassava mainly, and also its opportunities in some end-use sectors, I think mainly on clean cooking. But pleasure to have you online, Mr. Praveen. I hope you can see and hear us, and we look forward to hearing your presentation and the development in Uganda.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Bharadwaj, for this opportunity. And let me put on my presentation. This is the one. Yes. So my name is Praveen. I'm from Bukona Agro Processors Limited. Bukona is a distillery in Uganda. We mainly use cassava and maize as our feedstocks. We are in ethanol for cooking and ethanol for blending. Ethanol for blending is just a new business that is starting now. We are in ethanol for cooking for a couple of years, and recently government of Uganda has issued the licenses to establish the blending depots at the border points, and one of the border point is with us, which is supposed to blend close to 480 million liters out of a billion liters of petrol, which is being imported in the country. Sorry, Bukona Agro Processors is mainly into ethanol cook stoves manufacturing and distribution. This is the ethanol for cooking, and this is the picture which you see is for the blending depot, which is established at Malaba border point. We use maize, cassava. Occasionally, we use sorghum, and sugarcane is another feedstock which we plan to enter into, considering the year-long availability of the sugarcane. So these are a few slides for our fermentation house, the laboratory, and the staff here. We buy feedstocks from about 10,000 farmers. We have production capacity of about 40,000 liters per day. With the ethanol mandate which government of Uganda has launched, we plan to expand our capacity to 80,000 liters in near future. Of this 40,000, we have installed capacity of anhydrous ethanol plant for 30,000 liters per day. Ethanol blending facility, as I said, we plan to blend about 450 million liters at Malaba border. And our cook stove manufacturing facility has capacity of about 150 cook stoves a day, close to 4,000 to 5,000 stoves a month. Can you slide this one? Yeah. So these are the slides for our assembly shop for ethanol cook stove. We have single burner and double burner models which go with the pressure cooker. We have introduced pressure cookers here, which we give at subsidized prices. The purpose is when we use the pressure cookers, we know that it saves about 70% of energy. And while they use pressure cooker along with the stoves, it becomes a cheaper option even than the charcoal. And that is how we have succeeded. We have captured good market for our ethanol cook stoves. The project is being financed by World Bank under UECCC, and we offer about 40% of price reduction through UECCC. This is another slide. We also have presence in Tanzania. We got a contract from UNIDO to distribute about 19,000 cook stoves, and the progress is fair, and we are delivering the stores in Tanzania as well. So far, the feedstocks are concerned. We have partnership with Noya District local government. The district has about 4,000 VSLA groups, and each VSLA group has close to 30 members and 30 acres of land. So the total land holding is in the range of 100,000, as we need close to 20,000 or 25,000 acres of plantation to run our plant at full capacity. And with this partnership, we assure the fair price to the farmers, and we have agreed that we can lift the cassava or maize from the farmers itself, where we can avoid the intermediate agencies, and the benefits could be transferred directly to the farmers. This slide speaks about ethanol demand for cooking. So at the moment, we have reached about 15 to 20,000 stores. In this year, we hope we can reach to 50,000 cook stoves. Each cook stove consumes about 10 liters of ethanol in a month, which is about 120 liters in a year. And this can create a demand of 6 million liters in a year. As we see, if we can progress and we can achieve the market 100,000 to 150 and 200, it can actually create a cumulative demand of almost 84 million liters in next 5 years. And
Mr. Praveen, I think we lost your audio. We're unable to hear you right from the slide. No, it doesn't seem to work. Could you check the microphone connections again? It was fine until this slide. No, you're not audible yet. No, I think maybe you could try with a different microphone, or maybe removing the microphone itself and see if it works. Because it was fine until this slide. It suddenly stopped. No, I think still can't hear you. Apologies for the technical issues. Just wait a couple more minutes. Maybe you could leave and join the webinar again. I don't know if that works. I wouldn't recommend that, but uh, you could try that. But in the meantime, once we try to solve that question, Mr. Chatra, if you're still here, uh, so apologies for asking you to jump in. There was one interesting question on
Hello.
from,
Yeah.
yeah, hello. Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
I'm
Please
sorry.
continue.
Okay. So, as I said, this is the subject that Uganda has launched the policy, and we are about to begin, hopefully in a month's time now. We have a couple of plants who are ready with ethanol at the moment, and quite likely we may have to begin with 1%, though the mandate is for 5%. But as I see, maybe in next 3-4 months, the plants which are under construction should be ready, and we should be able to begin blending with 5%. And with this 5% can actually create a demand of about 50 million liters. The commitments, as I said, it is people have committed close to 80 million liters, but the plants are under construction. Government intends to take it up to 20% in next 3-4 years. Like every year, we should be able to increase by 10%, and we reach up to 20%. That is how we intend to progress on this one. So far, the tax policies are concerned, government policies are concerned, those are quite favorable. There is no VAT. VAT has been exempted. There is no excise duty on this one. Also, I can say for the agricultural units, there is no income tax applicable. And to the extent the loans are concerned, government under ACF provides the loans at almost 50% of the interest rate of the commercial banks. So far the policies are concerned, I'm very sure government of Uganda is supporting the mission. Only thing is this is a new thing for Uganda, and it might take a year or so to reach that capacity marks and everything. But I believe everything is moving well. This can create a very good demand. Right from year one, we can reach up to 16 million, and the last year it can go up to 284 million. So this can create a very good demand, because as of now, if you see in Uganda, though the country is agricultural based country, only at the moment the distilleries produce the neutral alcohol, which is precisely for liquor manufacturing. But I'm sure with this movement and this initiative, a new market will open up for the farmers in the country, and this will certainly change the economy of the country. Yeah, this is the slide which speaks about the volumes that this demand can bring in. In the year 25-26, as we said, the overall demand can reach up to 16 million liters, which demands close to 40,000 tons of maize, and it can bring additional acres under cultivation, which is about 20,000, and this can route close to 6 million USD in the local economy. And as you see, 26, 27, 28, 29, this money would go up to $106 million. And this is what I think this initiative can certainly help us, and this is what we are looking for. Ethanol shall bring the economic stability, reliable income through the guaranteed purchase agreements with Bukona and the other distilleries, fair pricing mechanisms, have been established with the help of the districts partnerships. This will help us for creation of jobs. Employment opportunities will be created for the farmers and for the workers through the industries. Community developments shall be achieved in different areas such as education, healthcare, other services, and this will foster overall development in the rural economies. Sustainable agriculture, promotion of sustainable farming practices and better crop management techniques can help us. Also, enhance rural and infrastructural development will be achieved. I think this is what I have to present.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Praveen, for taking time and sharing the development of ethanol in Uganda. We're glad we could solve the technical issues, but let's see. There were a few questions that have come up during your presentation, and the first was on the cook stoves. We've talked a lot about cook stoves. The question was, where are the cook stoves produced, and also in the penetration of these cook stoves? Is it more urban area or is it more rural? What are the different challenges in having more of these cook stoves in urban and rural areas?
Well, at the moment, we assemble the cook stoves in our factory in Uganda, in Noya.
Hmm.
We have shifted the machinery to manufacture the cook stoves in Uganda. Hopefully, in another month's time, we should be able to manufacture it 100% in Uganda. The market is more urban, and precisely you can say the towns like Kampala and the bigger towns where we sell, where the charcoal is comparatively expensive.
Hmm.
Because in the rural areas, still it is compared with the cheaper price of charcoal and the wood, where we are not able to push it. But in urban towns, certainly, yes, we are able to push the stoves. And of course, this was more easy with the subsidy programs. Those have been supported by World Bank through Ministry of Energy, and that is it.
Yeah, thank you for that. And the second question was on the demand. You've talked a lot about the increasing demand for ethanol in the clean cooking space, but then you also had this, as you pointed out, the increase in blending mandates from, was it 1%, 5% to, was it 20% by 2030? That seems to be a big jump in ethanol demand. How do you see the supply meeting the demand? Do you have enough, you feel there's enough feedstock and land that's available within the country to meet this increasing demand?
Of course, yes. Most importantly, Uganda has two seasons. Like, you can grow the crops twice a year. That is one. So far, the land is concerned, out of 80% of arable land, just 35% of the land is utilized. Rest of the land is still available. And I trust, there is enough land, and
Mm.
these figures may be small. Like, if I can say, we have mentioned the total demand is close to 200 million liters or so. Uh, but so far the figures are concerned, like the post-harvest losses itself are close to 1 million tons. Now that 1 million ton can produce close to 400 million liters,
Mm.
meaning even if we are able to control the losses, we can reach this figure. And I was wondering when Mr. Patra was telling those they have reached to 30%, 40%. So we have enough lands in the refugee camps and those other places where even biodiesel initiatives can be taken using Jetropa and other things. So I don't really see that there should be, to my belief, this 5 years period may not be even needed. That is
Mm.
how the industries in Uganda are aggressive.
Mm.
Most of the distilleries have started expansions already. So
Yeah.
I don't think it will even take this time. This is what is the plan, but how I feel we may be even quicker than that.
Oh, that's excellent news to hear. Thanks for that. And final question on feedstock. You've mentioned maize and sorghum as your primary feedstock, and cassava, I think. But
Cassava.
you also mentioned sugarcane, which is of course for very significant interest for the audience who are joining in from Brazil. As you know, it's one of the leading sugarcane, if not the world's largest sugarcane producer. When the question was, what have you considered sugarcane as a feedstock? Because I believe Uganda would be a very good, has a very good climate for that. What sort of
Yes.
experiments have you done? And just to expand on that, if you have to have, because we've been discussing on the cooperation, like a possible study visit to Brazil, what do you think are would be important aspects to consider in a cooperation between Uganda and Brazil, apart just from feedstock? So have you considered sugarcane, and what do you see could be useful things to consider in a cooperation with Brazil?
You see, the main reason why we thought of considering sugarcane is because we can depend on the bagasse
Mm,
to be used in boilers. Because when we use maize or cassava, we have to depend on firewood. And firewood certainly is not so easily available. And
mm,
also, it doesn't rhyme with what we are talking about or where we want to lead to.
mm,
Another aspect is, suppose if we have to import coal, it comes from Tanzania, it is fairly expensive. On the contrary, if we can promote a blend of these two technologies, maize, cassava, and along with that, if a sugarcane juice can be used, so that the bagasse can run the factory from the energy perspective, and then all these other raw materials can be used as a feedstock for the distillery. That is the
yeah,
main reason why I feel the sugarcane should be considered, and because you will have zero dependence on the energy.
yeah. Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, that's a good thing to hear for the Brazilian colleagues because they've have excellent experience on sugarcane development over the past 50 years or so. So maybe that's something to work out in a possible cooperation in testing sugarcane in Uganda. Thank you for that. I think those were all the questions that were. I'll just move back to Mr. Chatra, just for a final reflection. There was one very interesting question, was you've got Indonesia so far ahead in biofuel development, but there are many other countries which are just starting up in, so let's, for example, Uganda, just starting up, biofuel programs and implementing biofuel programs. What do you say would be, very critical to take care of? What sort of advice you think would be for those countries that have not initiated such large scale blending to consider when we start looking at implementing, announcing and implementing these mandates? What could be a good, a good advice to give?
Thank you. My advice would be you have to, first of all, make sure that you have the right feedstock in your country, because without the right feedstock, then you'll have a problem producing the biofuel. And then uh, the most important thing would be it will be hard to fund without a clear strategy on what feedstock to use. I think
Mm,
the best thing to look at is the what is the best feedstock in your area that you can use. I think, and then the second one is make sure that everyone in all the stakeholders can collaborate and work together to create a biofuel program that is right for your country and the niche of the country itself. Maybe
yeah.
that's it from me. Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Perfect. I think those are all the questions on the chat. And we are just about close to an hour of the webinar, which is also initial plan. So with that, we'll come to the end of this webinar, this shortened version. First of all, I would like to thank both the speakers, Mr. Chatra from Indonesia and Mr. Praveen from Uganda, for joining us and for sharing the developments in Indonesia and Uganda. Just to highlight, the recording of the webinar and the presentation slides will be made available to all the participants in a couple of days' time. Thank you to our partners, SB Bioenergy Society, but also Bioenergy International, for supporting in developing this webinar series. And just a couple more points. The next webinar that we'll have focusing on Brazil will be on I think the 4th of November. And we already have an excellent lineup of this that will very much focus on emerging markets in Brazil. We have MDC Bioenergia, and we have Bunker One, which will look at maritime and biomethane, but also experts in the aviation sector talking about SAF development in Brazil. So if anyone's interested in that, please join us in our next webinar. And with that, I thank all of you for being patient, for asking questions, and I hope to see most of you in our upcoming events. And good luck, have a great rest of the day, and see you. Bye-bye.